All right, so feel free to talk about the mystery of the Black Hand.
Okay.
Roar.
So, I just wanted to do a little recap of our game that we played, the mystery of the Black Hand, as I believe it is being called. So when we last left off, we were in the city and we had been trying to figure out about this Black Hand that was on all these different doors in the city, and there's no pattern to why that Black Hand's on that door versus the other door. There's no pattern of people that were taking, and nobody had ever seen anything. Well, if you remember last time, we didn't actually ask around if anybody had seen anything. We just heard that the rumors were goblins, so we went after the goblins, and that was just about it. So when we had gone back to the city, we decided that, oh, well, since it wasn't the goblins, maybe we should actually ask a couple people who had a family member taken if they ever saw anything or anything like that. So we had asked somebody, and he referred us to somebody else who had some sort of wild theory about what might have happened. So when we talked to him, he said that he was meeting somebody outside in the dark at night for some reason that doesn't probably matter. And he saw a figure being taken away by something with short arms. It was some sort of humanoid creature with really short arms. And that was it. And they were headed north. So we decided that that was enough information, again, to go on. We did not need to talk to anybody else, again, which obviously worked out so well for us last time. And we would go ahead and just sporadically venture north.
Northeast.
Northeast. Okay, whatever. So we're walking northeast, and we're walking. We come across a bridge. Okay, so let's go over the bridge. We get closer to the bridge and we hear some noise. So my sorcerer, kind of being the only person with any sort of dexterity / stealth abilities, decides that she is going to go up investigate. So she kind of, backs around the river and comes up in between a couple trees and decides, she's going to see what's making this noise. And she sees these large toads in the creek. And they're not paying any attention to the bridge whatsoever. They're looking for things in the water. And the fighters have previous knowledge that these giant toads have a tendency to search for gold and treasure and trinkets and bring them back to their king sort of as tribute. Okay, so we are assuming, because the wizard used the messenger spell on me, so the wizard and I can communicate, and he's relaying back to the party and talking back to me, so we can all talk at a distance about, what's happening. So we're talking about different strategies. Let's just sneak over the bridge and let's just, get past them, not even worry about it. And then the fighter who, we didn't mention, by the way, that one party member was missing. Our half-orc fighter was missing at the last minute. She had a sinus infection, didn't feel good, had a birthday party for her son the next day, so she decided not to come. So she sends her character with her husband, the wizard. And the wizard decides in all of his wisdom that he is going to allow my brother, the fighter, who couldn't hit anything last time, to play the other fighter, thinking that, well, two fighters together, they're always in the front, they can have, they can make strategic decisions, and that'll be the best situation for the whole group. Worst idea ever. Seriously, I don't know what he was thinking. But the fighter decided, screw this stealth stuff. I'm just going to make a decision. And without any, discussion with the party, he says, I'm just going to walk up to the edge of the bridge. Positions one fighter on one side, one fighter on the other side, just making a ton of noise. Oh, okay. So, of course, the frogs start to come over and mingle over, and I'm just standing there waiting because I decided that really, I'm not sure if I really want to get into this fight again, because the fighter is getting us into another fight again that we could have easily avoided. And, you know, I don't really know that it's going to be that advantageous for my character. I mean, what am I going to get, a spear? I mean, really. So, anyway, everybody starts attacking, and finally I decide, okay, well, my character actually is going to engage when a bunch of toads start heading for me, because of course they just magically happen to see me, even though my stealth roll was like an 18 and I'm hidden in between two trees. Somehow they see me, but they don't go towards, you know, the fighter making all sorts of noise. So I get like 3 toads headed towards me. There's 2 toads headed towards the other fighter and 4 headed towards another one.
DM's fault for getting about the stealth check.
Yeah, and I pointed it out, but it just doesn't matter. I did! I said I made my stealth roll. Anyway, point is that I got a bunch of toads headed for me, which is actually not a big deal because I think our fighters, well, if our fighters use their shields, their armor class is 18. But my sorcerer, without her armor, just naturally standing there, she actually has an armor class of 16, so it's really not that bad. The only bad thing is that I can't use a lot of my ranged spells because I'm standing right next to him, so you'd have to disengage, cast a spell to get attack of opportunity, and that's a bad situation in the first place. I don't think I ended up actually getting hit the entire battle. I took out 2, and I think somebody helped me with the 3rd one, or something like that.
Something like that.
But I think the fighter, the human fighter, dropped down, you know, 3/4 of his life. I think the half-orc was down to maybe 2 hit points, and so then when it was finally said and done, and I don't think we actually got any treasure from them, maybe a couple gold, they were actually, the fighters were severely injured. So then we had to heal them up, so then we had to have this conversation about whether we should stop and do a short rest or not, because heaven forbid you continue on doing anything without any healing spells. And our wizard was down 1 first level spell, and so because of that, even though he has 2 more spells available, he felt the need that we should definitely stop, take a short rest, because he really needed his spell back. So we decide we're going to take a short rest. Well, then the DM informs us that actually it's like 4 or 5 o'clock at night. So at that point we figure, well, we might as well just make camp and sleep for the whole night. So even though we could have kept going for just a couple more hours and then made camp, we decided, well, we'll just make camp now, so we'll just lose time. But whatever, doesn't matter. So we make camp. We had this huge conversation about watches. Somehow this became really complicated. We have an elf, we have a half elf. One of them was going to take the first 4 hours, and I guess our wizard only needs an hour to sleep, something weird like that. And the other one was going to take the last 4, and the wizard would be awake for 3 of those last 4 hours. That was the plan. Okay, so then we had to have a big conversation about whether there was going to be a fire or not. So of course, you know, I said there's really no point in having a fighter. We have 2 humans, yes, who can't see in the dark. The other 3 characters, we can just see in the dark just fine. We're the ones doing the watches. Just leave it dark. We're less likely to get ambushed by anything like that. And we have like 3 different characters who have a light spell as cantrips. So if something were to happen, we would use a cantrip light spell in order to cast light on something so that the humans could see. That is the plan. That plan took about 20 minutes, but we finally hashed out that plan. In the meantime, we have a human fighter who is extremely upset that we would even consider not having a fire. Okay, so Wizard's Watch goes by just fine. My watch comes up and I start to see something. It happens to be the hour that the wizard is awake. So we're kind of, you know, figuring out what it is. We get attacked. We figured out it's zombies. So I run over. I am by the half-orc and I am by the human cleric. I run over, kick the half-orc, kick the human cleric, and I'm ready for my next round. So I did my job. I do not have a light cantrip. I would just like to stay. But I did my job. I woke up the 2 characters that I was responsible for. The wizard is responsible to wake up 1 character. He nudges him, runs over and starts attacking. Doesn't use his light cantrip. The cleric is getting up. She's got a light cantrip. So I guess we only have 2 characters with light cantrip. So she's getting up. She's disoriented, doesn't know where she is, can't see to cast her spell. Great. So the human fighter starts screaming about how he can't see. He and the wizard are having this huge argument about the light cantrip. Meanwhile, we are being attacked by zombies, which the cleric decides, once the light cantrip is finally cast and somebody can see, that we need to turn all the zombies. There's like 5 zombies, there's 5 of us, and we're all perfectly capable at hand-to-hand combat, with the exception of the wizard, and I think one of them was already dead when she decided she needs to turn them. So she turns them. So they start to run away. So then we start to attack them from behind. So then, I cast a range spell on one of them, so then it starts to turn around. Somebody shoots another one, so it turns around. And then the other 2 get away. So it's like, what was really the point? Then we take out the other 2 basically before they even reach us. Okay, so we're done with that. We get up for the day, we're refreshed, we have our spells back. Everything's gonna be great. So we're walking along, going northeast down our road that we need to go down, and suddenly we run into a caravan of men. Human men dressed in like some lighter armor. They're armed. There's 2 men pulling a wagon. There's a couple other men that are around the wagon guarding it. They ask us to step aside. We really have no reason or motivation to attack them. Everybody in the party is neutral, good. I think the half-orc might be chaotic good. And I am the only character that is not good, and I'm chaotic neutral. So, out of all of us, I feel like I would probably be the most justified in starting some trouble. But I really had we're trying to get to these zombies. There's really no motivation. They don't look like they're extremely well equipped. They don't have a ton of items on them. And, frankly, they're in between 2 cities, so they're probably some sort of caravan in between these 2 cities. And I am trying to learn and grow from our other group in which we kill everything and decapitate everything we come along in contact with. And, usually there are really bad consequences for that. So I step aside, but just because, I'm kind of curious and I want to make sure everything's on the up and up, kind of. Or maybe I'm looking for an excuse. As the caravan goes by, there's a tarp on the caravan. I kind of lift up the tarp and, see what's in it. There's a bunch of crates in it. Probably crates of supplies. There's nothing that looks suspicious in any way, shape, or form. So, because we have absolutely no motivation to attack this cart, my brother decides that the half-orc, who is not his character, who would never actually do this in real life, as the cart is driving past her, she's just going to take her giant maul and just smack one of the wheels and the wheel breaks. Really?
The wheel didn't break though.
Really? Well, it stops the cart. He love tapped it.
He rolled.
The point is that these guys were already suspicious of us in the first place because the human fighter and the cleric thought it would be a good idea to sneak around back of the cart while the other 3 of us approached the cart. So they caught us doing that in the first place. I forgot to mention that. So we already look extremely suspicious. Now we just busted up their wheel for no apparent reason whatsoever. So, of course, they attack us. This is a case where we are severely outnumbered. I'm pretty sure our fighter dropped to, 3/4 of his life. Our half-orc almost died. She only lived because she's a half-orc. Our cleric's running around like a chicken with their head cut off, trying to heal everybody. And I'm just standing there, basically just trying to kill things that are moving. It was ridiculous. When we all was said and done, we did end up with some cool treasure from that. We actually ended up, ironically, with some goggles of dark vision. So hopefully that goes to the fighter. We ended up with a couple potions, a maul +1. That doesn't seem planned. And what else did we get? Oh, we got a scroll or a wand of magic missile, which of course the wizard thinks is his, when then I point out that I too can cast magic missile, and I too could use that wand.
Anyone can use
and
it.
Technically anybody can use that wand, but most of the other people would have a very
No,
poor
anyone can
check.
use it. You have to make a check in 5th edition, it looks like.
Well, let's not tell them that part.
I'm telling them that.
They don't know the rules that well.
They'll learn when I tell them.
So, we actually didn't even end up getting to where we were supposed to get to. We did, however, figure out that the creatures with shortened arms are actually the zombies. All the zombies have their arms cut off. So, the cleric thinks it's some weird sort of evil ritual. Other people just think they're deformed. Some people don't have a clue. So we didn't get there yet. We're still working on getting there. Hopefully, maybe we can get there soon. We did have a couple of exciting rules that came up. We had questions about how come a spell can critically fail, but a spell cannot critically hit. Because I had quite a few critical hits. However, none of them counted as critical hits. So my critical hit still did 1 damage. That was exciting. That's
so now we can do a minimum of 2 because we decided the DM was wrong.
We did decide the DM was wrong. Mainly I told him he was wrong. And then posted a comment somewhere else where everybody else pointed out how he was wrong.
But other people said it's my game and it doesn't matter.
Yeah, but they don't know what they're talking about.
No, they do.
This is my game. Nobody told you that. So, that situation came up, and I think there were a couple other rules that we did have to figure out along the way. We figured out the cleric was casting too many spells. She was casting about 5 spells a day. She's really only supposed to cast 3, and then that kind of became a hot button issue. We did have some trouble with the fighter, the human fighter, and the cleric. So, out of game, these two are married, I would like to point out. In game, the fighter felt that the cleric needed to heal him. He has a max of 22 hit points. 23, I think. And he had 14 hit points left. And that meant that she needed to use a whole entire spell slot on him to heal him. In the meantime, I think our wizard had 2, and our half-orc had a whopping total of 3. So he decides it is her responsibility and gets into this loud argument. Something had happened, the DM leaves, the wizard leaves, they're getting into an argument, so I jet off to the kitchen to check on the apple crisp and the crock pot because I wasn't going to stay there, but it was quite intense. So we're going to have a little conversation next time about how this is just a game, guys, and it's okay. And if she doesn't want to heal you, she doesn't have to heal you. But aside from that, I think
You
all
fought
in
like
all...
another batch of 10 zombies, which again she turned them.
When did we do that? We fought zombies twice?
Yeah, remember at the end it was like, oh, we should probably fight 2 more.
Oh, yeah. Well, we were going to stop after the caravan. But
Because everybody was so messed up and there was so much drama.
yes, so we were going to stop, but then somehow magically we found out that we were fairly close to an ending.
Everyone was going to sleep. And I said, okay, well, you're going to be in combat next time, basically.
Yeah, he said we're going to start in the middle of combat. So we said, well, we might as well finish this battle. And it was 11:30 when we said that.
It only went till 12:20.
Oh, okay. Well, anyway, so I think there were like 10 to 12 zombies that time, which most of those got turned, and then we had to call them back again. And I think I actually took about 3 damage that battle. That was about it. yeah, so I guess that's about as exciting as our game got, and maybe next time we will figure out, you know, if these zombies have some kind of headquarters and who's making them, and I'm sure we'll fight some evil priests. Actually, I bet you the evil priest will have a wizard sidekick, because now that our spells can critically hit and critically fail, there has to be a wizard bad guy in order to use that against us. That will be his goal. How to incorporate a wizard. Just you wait.
Except I didn't change anything. And don't plan on it. I don't.
Don't lie.
I don't.
I know what you do. I know where you
Sometimes I do, but no, I'm not changing that.
So yeah, tell them to subscribe. Say please subscribe to my channel.
Please subscribe to my channel.
Please like this video.
Please like this video.
And please leave a comment below, and I will be sure to reply back as soon as I can.
And I would love to reply to all the comments that you leave below.